Oh, you muted Tebbs. What a professional.
Oh,
Wi-Fi last week, muted this week.
Going well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to Rundown.
Playing for me.
There we go. We're in now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. The video is still playing for me, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it seems that the University of Gloucestershire's Wi-Fi is not holding up as much as it was at the start of this, even plugged in. But at least I'm not going to be swearing the whole time. But yes, week 10 is in the books. Pretty good week 10, if I say so. There were some shocking games. Then there was Hull, whatever you're doing, Jamie, doing your essay, supposed to be on the show. Hull Sharks were supposed to be on. We're going to move Hull Sharks down a bit, and we are going to have the QB coach for the Leicester Longhorns. And the Leicester Longhorns, who beat the Notts Green, and who was the only person who picked that? This man right here. I'm just saying.
I'm needing retirement. I'm not cut out for this.
You had a bad week, Dylan.
I was first. I'm pretty sure I texted Tebbs like 2 days before, being like, genuinely, I'm reckoning 75% plus. I'm happy with everything this week, and then everything went wrong. We were sat here being like, "Oh, it's a dull week. Everyone's going to win." Who we think's going to win?
That's it. Like Connor had some right gems. Exeter beating Bournemouth. Durham beating Newcastle. To be fair, I was going to pick Durham, but then I saw the game was happening in Newcastle, and I was like, nah, can't be done. So we're just going to quickly run through the week 10 scores, have a little brief chat about basically what's exploded. So in the Prem, UEA versus UE called off, frozen ground at UEA. Gold 35 leads Beckett 16, Durham 16, Newcastle 14 in Division 1. Hertfordshire 6, Portsmouth 0. Another one of the big shockers, Southampton 32. Bristol 13, a game that I was at and we could talk about on the new Sport Tank live streaming. Ooh, go and check it out, it's really cool. Exeter 22, Bournemouth 20, Hallam 50, LGMU 14. Dylan, what were we thinking? Oh, mate.
You know what? I had a belief. I was like, something magical is going to happen. There's going to be an upset.
So did I. In my heart, I don't know what it was. I was like, LGMU, you've got this. No, they don't. Warwick 72, Staffordshire 0, Edinburgh 20, Hull 0. And Dylan was at that game, so we can talk about what happened there. Surrey 0, this is Division 2. Surrey 0, Brighton 36, Aberystwyth 14, Plymouth 14, but Aberystwyth's second draw. Mad. KCL 28, Canterbury 6. KCL complete their undefeated season. Obviously, now goodbye off to Division 1 with you. You'll see you in the playoffs, but yeah. Bangor 0, York St John 8, which Dylan had. I don't understand how you managed to pull it.
YSU's first win as a fully fledged Uniball side. Like, give them props. It's their first ever win.
Yeah. Wrexham should have been a city over Bangor. That was my main reasoning.
Brad, this is another big one, which I think may have got swallowed up within like Southwest one and the balls explosions that continue to happen. Bradford 20, Lancaster 8. That's big for Bradford. UClan lose the battle of the North to Liverpool, 34-12. However, because Bradford, they're on 3-1-1. Bradford are in second place. Liverpool plays Bradford in a few weeks. That will be a tasty game. Now, this is the one that I had. We're going to have Ryan Cummings on, the QB coach for the Leicester Longhorns. Longhorns 27, Nottingham Green 18, Edinburgh Napier Knights 36, Teesside 0, and walkover Greenwich over UEL. And we're not going to talk about the Sunderland walkover because talking about Sunderland, unfortunately, for anyone from Sunderland watching, is a waste of my time.
Just give yourselves up. Just give it up.
Yeah, I'm sick of seeing you on the docket because it's just a waste of time. And I put it in the predictions posts every week. Sunderland are there. Nope, doesn't matter. They're not going to play. It's a waste of my time. So, Dylan, tell me about Hull. Tell me about Hull versus Edinburgh.
Genuinely, so I stayed for 2 games on the weekend. It was Napier, Teesside, and then Hull Edinburgh. And the most entertaining moment was Napier making a 20-yard pass and then... True.
That's bold. Anyone from Sunderland watching, bold to assume they got players.
But Napier making a 20-yard pass and then one of their players turning around and trying to beef like a whole offensive lineman watching on the sideline. And that was about it. Hull Edinburgh was 20-0 after a half and then after full time.
Yeah. It's a shame that Hull aren't on because it's 2 walkovers now for the Sharks, and they were doing so well, and now apparently their kryptonite is Scottish teams.
I spent an hour chatting with their bus drivers yesterday.
Don't travel well.
I don't know in that division anymore because Northumbria now, they need to win, I think, to be able to avoid relegation. But I don't know if they can. It's going to be sort of like a draw-off almost. I think they're currently 1-3-2. You've got Hull are 2-4, Edinburgh are 2-4, and yeah, what a division.
If you remember what happened last year, it was pretty much somewhat the same with York and Hull really battling it out to see who wants to go down to Division 2. And it just so happened that York lost, or York won, depending on how you look at it, and they got relegated. But yeah, anything surprises?
It's going to be an interesting one, that division. I really don't know what's happening anymore with it because Edinburgh suddenly looked reasonably decent. Glasgow went from thrashing people to drawing 0-0 again.
Oh, they did draw 0-0. Don't know why that didn't pop up on my thing. Who'd they have?
0-0. It's horrendous.
Northumbria.
Northumbria. Awesome.
Mustangs. 0-0 against the Mustangs.
Another 0. Another one.
Another draw for Northumbria.
Honestly, it seems it's a battle of the draws. Obviously, Northumbria drawing twice. Aberystwyth drawing twice. It's
what a week.
What a time to be alive. So, Southwest 1. Let's talk about that. Obviously, if people did not see Sport Tank, we're sort of delving into the live streaming of games market now. We've got a lovely new setup, just to show that the commentator is fact. No, but we were at Bristol versus Southampton for the weekend. Bristol Barracuda versus Southampton Stags. We all picked Bristol. How embarrassing it was for me to be there in person, to face the music live, right in my face. Southampton 32, Bristol 13. But I would say
not even close. Not even close.
Bristol did have some chances. I was told in the comments were flying in there, telling me Bristol are a fourth quarter team. It's like, that is not the way you want to be as a football team because
it's going to be down 20 points.
It's going to be really crippling, especially because you had like Bournemouth slip up.
Exactly.
Which no one was expecting.
So this is the big this is the big thing coming out of that division is it's now sort of a lot more wide open than it was. It seemed that Bournemouth were going to take the entire thing. They're currently 4-1. You've got Exeter at 3-2, Bristol now at 3-2, and Southampton at 3-3. It's difficult now. Bournemouth. Why? I mean, that game would have been a good one, but the Southwest one. I don't know. Can Bournemouth hold on? They got Southampton, I believe. Next, Bristol. But then Bristol, this is it. This is one thing I did learn. Bristol were without their starting quarterback, so that was a big one.
30 plus points.
I'll give that. There's a lot of fumbles. SJ with this is SJ. He's going for it. Stags title push. It's coming home to Southampton. Exeter's O-line was unreal. It seems to have Exeter have learned very well from their first meeting with Bournemouth because, you know, I again, this is something that I've had to contend with doing the rankings, that I had Bournemouth doing well but not winning because, you know, I just thought that, you know, it takes years to develop, you know, a winning system. Basically told me shut up in the politest way possible with these wins, but Exeter beating them. I don't think it's going to be like a Bournemouth slide. Don't worry.
No.
But also notice how when we talk about the Southwest one, none of us bring up Swansea.
No. So I was about to say, Exeter is still.
That's sad that
Exeter is still in the race. I'd argue. They're sat at 3-2.
So Bristol.
Aye, all 4 teams. Swansea are just dishing out wins left, right, and centre. I think.
Yeah.
The other 4, any of those 4 could now, based on last week especially, any of them could go through. Christmas hasn't been good for Bournemouth Bristol at all.
Yeah, but it must be great for Southampton. Obviously, their offense, it was basically just punching runs. It was just a good game. just that it's a good game to watch. But called off this week. It seems to be another advent of the Frost Monster. Not a whole lot were called off. Everyone in the southeast was called off. Brunel and Essex's rematch was, and then Imperial versus QMBL, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. Was called off. Obviously, the big one being the UE versus UEA was called off. Lots of Div 2.
Is that really a big one?
Called off.
Let's be honest. Like, it's
Well,
UE,
I mean, it's the
UEA
biggest list
that
of Prem.
really that big? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's just because it's the Prem. It's not because it's a big game, but
now with LBC and I imagine get onto it. See, that's what I mean. Exeter played well against Bristol that first game. They drew them close.
But what's other than Southampton, not other than Swansea, who is actually easy in that division now? Like, you would throw a coin toss at pretty much every other fixture.
Yeah, from now on out, definitely.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the elephant in the room?
Is that what you're going to do for your picks now?
Yeah. Why would
that?
I not? It's just I was going to talk about Leeds going down to Notts Gold in a game that throws that entire division on its head.
I was going to mention that, and I thought I was going to get shouted at for Tebbs.
The thing is, I'm too up here. I went in back and I looked at the statistics. The last 3 meetings, the home team has won. They were in Nottingham. Okay, there we go. Again, and the problem is the gold get better as the playoffs approach. You know, a playoff Nottingham Gold is a different team to a week 3 Nottingham Gold. And that is just all it is. It seems that Nottingham are going to take the division now unless they lose to Newcastle or Durham.
But you say that, but wasn't it the opposite last year? I thought last year they beat Beckett in the first game and then lost the flip.
No, they lost the first game and then won the second.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other end, but I mean, you all you can do is give him props and go like fair play for getting it done, and
whichever one of them loses to UWE in the final will be a great game no matter what.
I think
again, Dylan, you can't say that after last year. You can't say that after last year.
But you know what? But then you watch it back, and up to that fourth quarter, it probably was looking a bit of a drilling, and then it got somewhat hopeful.
No, bro. I was there the whole time. It was spicy bum.
We're both Dolphins fans. I went into that Bills game the other week. I was like, "This isn't going well for us." And then the hope killed me.
NFL, bro?
It's the same. It's the same theory. The hope killed me. I thought there was something happening, and then the inevitable happened.
So, like,
given the way the seeding happens, though, I think you get UE at 1, SGS at 2 now, because of the way it all turns out.
So I can read you out what the sort of perspective ones are currently. It's Notts at North 1 versus UEA at South 4. Leeds versus Brum. UE versus Newcastle. And SGS versus Durham. And I think the spiciest one out of those for me is SGS Durham.
I think SGS rolls them.
Oh, you know what? James has got a very, very good point. Very, very good point. Bradford beating Lancaster. Didn't see that coming. Lancaster were putting up points, and then they run into Bradford. Bradford are now second in the division, 3-1-1, and then a couple of weeks to Liverpool. Liverpool obviously have just beaten UClan Rams in like the last Battle of the North. Bradford's cashing in their money in the bank for a Battle of the North fixture with Liverpool, and it's and I don't know anymore. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This week has proven I don't know anything about.
No, but UClan still needs because they'd still need UClan to slip up again, which would have to come against Lancaster or York. Yeah,
But that's it.
Liverpool can still lose to Bradford and win the division. So,
100%. Yeah, 100%. But it's still gonna be a big game. But
yeah,
it's like I'm pinning my hopes on Liverpool in the same way I'm sort of pinning my hopes on Leeds to sort of do.
I don't know. They've got YSJ this week who are onto a hot streak.
You'll go the right way for some YSJ merch, I think. Harrison Cooper, got the Div 1 playoff picture now.
No,
I'm not going to do that.
There are 4 teams, I think, in the Div 1
do that. I don't.
You could still get relegated or playoffs.
Yeah, I think like a 500 record potentially gets you the 8th seed in Div 1 North and now Div 1 South. Like a 4-4 record might actually get you that last playoff spot.
I was trying to work it out for the South. And I think Portsmouth will get in with the 8th seed. Obviously, with the whole thing with Hertfordshire, if they beat Hertfordshire by more than... No, I think Hertfordshire have already sort of won the division because Portsmouth are on 2 losses. And then I was talking to someone from Portsmouth, and they're like, they think Royal Holloway will get the second one. So it'll be 2 teams from that division getting what is akin to wildcard spots in the Div 1 South, which I could see because it really does depend on the Southwest one. It really does depend on the Southwest one. What happens there? Who comes second? Things of that.
That could be the same as I don't remember which division me and Colin were talking about last week, but it's like where they almost all rule each other out for that 3rd spot. Oh.
Yeah, that's to be fair, that's true. So that's where, especially in Div 2, that's where things are going to get spicy as Tebbs, his internet gives up again.
Wi-Fi.
Oh, there we go. He's back again. He's not. Well, let's just chat through. So yeah, I mean that's one thing to mention is
I've got like a thing on my screen.
Lots of people think that when you look at when you get tiebreakers and things like that, it's like you're like points difference. It's not. It goes average points conceded first, and then average points.
This is it. That's what people don't understand. That's what people don't.
Defense definitely wins championships in Brit Ball and Uni Ball.
Yeah.
Because if you can keep clean sheets
people don't know that.
Div 2's like you've got Liverpool who are in a team or division of 9. Meanwhile, we're in a division of 6, of which probably 4 or 5 games get played. And yet we could end up in the same playoff picture with then Nottingham, Derby, Leicester, and those sort as well. I've not enjoyed trying to work it out at all.
Yeah, but what I'll put this on the show one day, we will try and work it out, but I promise you it's not going to be today. And it's not going to be next week.
Going into the weekend of the 5th and the 12th, we might have something for you to try and work out. Whether there is any chance for anybody.
No, we're not going to do like a too early playoff picture. Like the amount I've had to watch Steve put together like his perspective playoff for Uniball, and honestly, it's like watching a magician at work. It's like all these numbers flashing in front of him. I think he goes into the matrix and he figures it out, and it works somewhat, but we'll still get a message like, well, actually, right? We need Alice for this, SJ. Do you want to come on the stream, SJ? Is that it? You can come on. You don't have to ask. Just say that you're free on a Monday, and I'll let you on. It's not that difficult.
The one thing I will say is there is some fairly obvious conflicting and wrong information out there from a certain Instagram account that keeps posting the whole if the season ended today graphics, which doesn't work when you've got lots of teams on lots of different numbers of games, because our season doesn't work like the NFL.
I didn't say that.
No, I didn't.
Who were watching, but that's why we have Connor on the show, so we can say things like that and get away with it.
Yeah.
But with that,
this track coming soon.
Division 2 is obviously. That's it. Division 2 is a difficult place, and as far as I'm concerned, there's one division that is very, very tense. And it's not tense because of like in problems with you, Dylan, and like teams folding but not folding, but not being can't drive. Midlands 2. There's a lot of talent in that division. Notts Green, Derby Braves, Lincoln Colonials. I mean, I thought Cambridge would do better. Even ARU are pulling some stuff out of the bag. But one team who is doing very, very well, especially this week, is the Leicester Longhorns. And today, because Jamie needs to do an essay, God bless Jamie. Hopefully he gets that done. We're doing Coach Ryan Cummings, the quarterback coach of the Leicester Longhorns. Hello, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, living the dream here with my Wi-Fi. Just roulette. Simple Wi-Fi roulette here in. Obviously, gaining momentum. It seems to be like they were flying under the radar a bit just because like they weren't playing as many games. Very much in like a big push now. Do you think that there's a chance that obviously you can see how Staffordshire's doing in Div 1 Midlands? It's very much does harken back. I'm sorry to bring up bad memories of Leicester's last stint up in the Div 1 Midlands. So one question that I've always had, especially for Leicester, is how much did COVID affect that Division 1 season for you?
So with COVID, I think there was a lot of players, of course, some of them was like second year, which I think happened to a lot of unis anyway, or like first, second years. And then unfortunately, because of how long COVID was, they did lose a lot of players, but it weren't just sayers. There was other unis that went through that as well. And yeah, so I think it was hard for, well, not just us, but I think everyone really. Like say there's teams out there that was like really good, and then suddenly they came back after COVID and they lost all the guys that they had before, which then they had to rebuild. And which is one thing, of course, that's happened with us. There has been quite a big rebuild, to be honest. And I think a lot of the teams we've played so far do get a little bit of a shock when they see us on game day at the moment. But I think it's down to that. Like I say, it's just rebuilding, getting guys learning the sport, and like new guys coming in and everything, learning the sport. And I think that's what it just comes down to, really. And that's why, that's why that stint more or less happened. So, yeah.
Then sort of your opponents, Cambridge in a few weeks, Kiel this week, but then you've sort of already knocked off one of the big boys of the division in the Green this week, which again, only I picked. Let's get that straight, all right? Let's get that straight. Derby on Super Bowl Sunday. What are your thoughts going into sort of playing a team like Derby? Because obviously you've come down, Derby's come down. Doesn't particularly happen too much in Uniball where teams that have come down get put into the same division. They're obviously fighting for the same thing that you are, but what can sort of Leicester bring, sort of really punch it home and punch the ticket back up to Division 1?
I mean, this year we've had a big push on like recruitment and stuff. Like the squad's gone from on average what would be about 20, 30 odd players to we're talking in the region of on a game day now we have we have about 60 to 70 players on our sideline. And I mean, that's big credit to the guys on Freshers Fair and everything else. They put in a lot of work to try and make sure they get guys down and get to training and everything else. And more of a shock for us as well was the fact, they signed up and they stayed as well. Like sometimes you get to the contact part of it and everything else, and these guys didn't leave or anything. They just carried on. And also coaching staff wise, so we have about 12, 13 of us all together coaching at the Longhorns right now. So, I mean, every position is catered for near enough now. So, it's been good because all the guys are getting, the coaching that they wanted and needed. And it's really helped them progress the way they have. And our team is more or less mostly rookies. More than 80% of the team is rookies this year. But they've came onto the sports so well since they came back. Since they came back and everything. And yeah, it's just been moving on. Really, it's just been moving on nicely since then. Really, so yeah, it does.
Then, so this is more of a question in regards to like just being a quarterbacks coach. What goes into like training these uni students in quarterback skills when they very well may have never. I imagine that you probably pick out the people who can throw the ball the best, like at the building blocks level. So what goes into like training players who maybe never even thought themselves as a quarterback? They want to be, I don't know, a safety or a receiver, or everyone wants to be a quarterback really. So let's just, but yeah.
So I mean, myself with quarterbacks and everything else, like my thing is all about their fundamentals and everything. And when we first started back, there wasn't actually that many who wanted to play quarterback, but there was a lot more wanting to play receiver and DBs and stuff. And we had one lad, Michael, his name is, who last year was a first year, and he ended up going towards the end of the season, ended up being the starter for the Longhorns. Just because the natural like raw, it was more raw talent than anything else. Like they are athletes that we've got playing at quarterback at the moment, and it has helped because it gives us a different look in what we can do when we're when we're on offense. So sometimes if the play breaks down and things like that, like they can get themselves out of it. But as for training and stuff, myself, it's I'm working on their like mechanics, so. Trying to get them to a level that they can play at and be competitive at in a quick amount of time. I do watch a lot of videos online, so I do follow like QB coaches and stuff like that. So like the other week, I had my umbrella out and I was like putting it against like their hips and stuff like that to work on like their rotation when they're bringing the ball, like throwing the ball and stuff like that. Getting ready for knots, I knew that the guys were. I worked out something like 2 seconds they had from the defensive line getting through to the backfield, watching the Derby tape. So I spent the week throwing tackle bags towards them and and giving them a little countdown just to try and get them to throw the ball quicker and stuff. But the biggest thing is like you look at someone, if they can throw it and they can, at least get it to the guy. Like most people can throw the ball. I mean, most people can throw further than other people, but it's a fact of whether they can actually. But it's the fact if they can keep it on target and get it to the place it needs to be. So that was my thing, really, more than anything else. When I started working with the quarterbacks and everything else, but that's more or less the way I look at it. But as long as their fundamentals are down and everything else, then the rest just happens. That's the way I look at it. So.
So, I mean, talk about
Dylan, are you having flashbacks to like quarterback training? Sorry.
I'm just thinking in my head. You said you got our offensive coach coming on. You're going to see how comparatively loving you've just been with what you've said there. That's like
I'm looking forward to Lindsay absolutely rinsing you, Dylan. It's going to be brilliant.
Oh, I've already had it once. It's getting the umbrella out. I think it'd probably be a brick for me. You're wearing pads for a reason.
You've talked.
I have to wear them around town now.
So, Coach, you've talked there a bit about kind of the fundamentals and in terms of the mechanics. But again, speaking from my point of view, that mechanics can be taught, but kind of the fundamentals in terms of the mental side of the game is something far harder to teach and get right. How do you approach that, given that it's such a big part of that side, no matter what scheme you run?
To be fair, like the guys that I've been working with are the Longhorns, so they do a lot of the stuff themselves outside of training. So I have done things like classroom sessions online with them myself. So like working through, what to look for when they're reading the field and, just giving them the basic concepts of how to read the field and, what to look for, where sort of gaps are. And also when we're playing teams as well, like watching film, it's picking out players that we think we could expose or, there's a weakness on, say, one side or this side. And Also, like another thing is like QB when you. I mean, I've played the position myself, so I know like a lot of the time it's you as a natural response. You have like a fight or flight response when you're having 11. It feels like you've got 11 Rottweilers trying to chase you around the field at any one point, and it's just trying to teach. It's trying to teach the body and everything else to try and just ignore it and work through it. So like a lot of the time I'll do like say as I said with drills and stuff that I do with them, it's I'll work I'll be like tapping them with the tackle bags and stuff like that, or I'll be like shoving them as they're about to throw the ball, or I'll be knocking at their arms and things like that, just to try and get them used to getting around that as well. That's so that's the sort of things that I do, but also of course like the extra. I mean, credit to them, they've been doing extra sessions themselves as well. So, even though we train 3 times a week, if we don't have a game, they'll do an extra 2 days. So they'll end up training like 5 days a week in some weeks, and they'll put the work into, to get themselves to that level, which has really helped this season. It has.
Yeah, fair. So in terms of like that obviously then plays into like what I said about the kind of the mental side of the game and scheme. How much say do you have in terms of the connection you have with your OC in terms of how you feeding back like the quarterback? These quarterbacks are mobile, or this guy has a cannon of an arm. And how much does he lean on you in terms of what you're going to call and how you're going to game plan going into the game week?
So when we do the tape sessions and everything else, we'll look at it, we'll talk about it and stuff like that. I'll pick out things that I've seen, and sometimes like send it across. Also, like on game day, I'll probably be standing like the other side of our sideline. If their defense is on one side, I'll be looking like on a different angle. And then some of the other coaches do it as well. They'll look at different parts, and they'll be calling different things out of the sea, and looking to like adjust to on the fly more or less if we need to. So yeah, so it's not just myself, but the other coaches as well. So
anyone else?
Here's the OC right now, actually. Here's the OC.
Oh, there you go.
What a name. How'd you even say that?
It's mystery. That's how you say it.
Sorry, Dylan. I know English isn't your first language, but
so I'm gonna let people
talk. Gone from Welsh now to learn Scottish. I'm struggling with that.
That's all right. You just nod. just like nod. Just like, yeah. You guys have kind of flown a little bit under. Not, I think Tebbs said it. Kind of. I mean, the three of us picked Notts Green to win that game. We kind of assumed that, given that Notts Green and Derby just, straight up drew a really close game. You guys obviously had I think you had the early loss in the season. Am I right? Or are you unbeaten?
We're unbeaten. Yeah.
Unbeaten.
Well, kind of, you then hadn't played that many games, and everyone just kind of almost christened that Notts Derby game as the one. Have you guys taken that to heart, or have you just kind of gone, right, let's just go about our business? We win, we go 1-0 each week. How have you kind of approached that side of things?
Yeah, as you just said then, like every week, we don't underestimate any opponent we play against. It doesn't matter who it is in the division. Like, I know like a lot of people talk about, certain teams in the division and things like that. But at the end of the day, we prepare for each game, as much as anyone else. And we know there's, big games and everything else that come up. But each, we just take it week by week. And that's how we've been doing it since we started. And that's, we don't look ahead too far. We're just going each game as it comes. So.
Any drive to push further to be an offensive coordinator at this level, or are you happy where you are just now?
Well, I mean, outside of uni ball, I am quite busy with American football anyway. So I am actually the head coach for the Leicester Falcons under 16s. So
cool.
I actually, yeah. So I run with that, and then
very nice.
Do some assistant coaching with the senior team as well, and done little bits that I helped out with the women's team that we've got as well. So I'm very active. I've been at the club for many years. I've been around the sport.
Who are very good. I will say, Leicester Falcons women's team got to live stream some of their games last year. They're good. I like Leicester Falcons. Their senior team though, they broke my little finger, so I've got less love for them. But we'll see. But my head coach does play for them. Shout out Dan Pell. Bless up. What a guy.
Bless up.
Coach Ryan, call him names. Call Dan Pell names.
Get him cancelled.
Get him cancelled. What's wrong with your OC?
We're never on the same page ever.
What's wrong with your OC? So one question I have, this is sort of more of a, very much stir the pot. Obviously, you've got Manchester Metropolitan and Tyrants, who I didn't realise that he was watching. You've got Manchester Metropolitan Eagles and the Tyrants. You've got sort of LJMU and Liverpool. Is there a derby rivalry between, Leicester and DMU, or is it just sort of because some of those teams do sort of fluctuate up and down a lot? But I remember in my time in Lincoln, I think you were in Div 2. Yeah, brilliant. You were in Div 2 my first year. Then you got promoted, and then you got relegated, and then DMU went up, and then DMU came down. Is there a rivalry between those two Leicester squads?
Yeah, I mean, every time the teams play each other, it is intense because, of course, it's both teams from the same city and everything else, like a lot of teams. Myself, I was actually a player at DMU once, so I've been on that side of it, and now, of course, I'm on this side of it. Myself, I don't really get that intense with it. God's sake. I do something, yeah. It can. There is a rivalry there, but myself, I have a lot of love for both sides, and that's just the way I am with it, to be fair. But yeah, there is a rivalry, as it does come with both teams playing in the same city, and of course, being this year that we're both in the same division, it does ramp it up a little bit more. So, which it will be an exciting game, like it normally always is when we play. So yeah.
Which all these comments just keep. I'm casting it out there, and I'm just reeling it in. I promise that's not what we tried to do on this show, but I will do it now. So this is sort of
whenever
I've said a lot
DMU's
in terms of the rankings and even Austria. No, you just honestly, man, you need to tell your people down. I've said the Midlands 2 is one of the toughest. I've said the Midlands 2 is one of the toughest divisions in uni ball, with everyone being at the top. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, with Derby, they Div 1, Prem in the past, Div 1 for a long time as well. DMU are still a strong team. I still remember Kiel at one point, they were quite a strong team. Lincoln as well. All teams have been strong at some point and everything else. But as with the uni ball goes, you lose players and then you have to rebuild, like I said earlier. So, sometimes you just have them years that, you do have years like that. And then eventually, once you do get the players back and they stay with the team for a few years, then it does help and it builds it back up again. So, yeah. But it's not an easy division in no way, shape, or form, no matter who you play.
I just want to get this up because I'm very surprised that Tom has obviously gone back through to find the pre-season rankings and decided to copy and paste what I've said about the Longhorns into the chat. I've been wrong. I've been wrong. I've been wrong a lot this year, and I've been right as well. But I have been wrong. Like, to be fair, Div 2 I've been quite wrong on. Reading, I'm definitely wrong. I think I had KCL doing well. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Can't even complain. I had not absolute fuel. Unbelievable. Like, sort of as we sort of wind down for this bit and we try to hang on to the Wi-Fi to do the preview for this week. Like, what do you want, like, the sort of last impression of the 2022-2023 Leicester Longhorns to be, especially now that you are sort of very much on the rise in terms of?
I think, with the guys doing such a great job with the recruitment and everything they do, they've probably set the team up now for the next few years. Also, with that, there's a lot of, like, say, these rookies, they're learning at a very quick pace. So I think, if we do go back in, we get there, like, we get to the end goal that we want to, of course, which is Div 1. We get up there again, and I think, we could do quite well, in my opinion. I think, we go back up there, and I think it'd be a different story this time to what it was before. And I think we could. You want to
go up there and finally be the team that sends Coventry back down to Division 2, because as much as I love Coventry, they have been hanging on by a thread for the last few years, absolutely hanging on so tight. And God bless them, they've done it, and they're going to do it again because Staffordshire they're already done. They're already done. Has anyone got any more questions for Coach Ryan Cummings of the Leicester Longhorns?
Have you got any tips for a cheerleader or whatever?
Do you tackle?
Any tips?
Yeah. No, hopefully maybe see you in playoffs. We don't know, but I think it's good seeing this, like, sort of. I think Midland's leading the way in this, but, like, the specialising in Div 2, as much as if you know anything about my division, it's not really hit up north too much yet. We've got a bit of it coming in, a few teams, but I think Midlands 2, there are probably 3 Div 1 worthy teams, especially based on the ex-Lincoln player shouting for a 4th there, I think. But yeah, but having watched Hull Edinburgh yesterday, I definitely think that division are going to sort of lead the way. You'd probably do a Bucks reshuffle that'll never happen or come your way. But do you think this is something? Yeah. Do you think Leicester's got the kind of program where you could even go beyond that into the future and get Prem maybe?
I mean, being like the Notts game at the weekend, when you, like, after our game was finished, just looking around at, like, the setup with, like, Beckett and Notts Gold and stuff like that, like, you can see what it takes and, what you need for that level. Because there's not just the coaches, there's, like, S&C coaches on the sideline, you've got the physios there and everything, and I know for all, like, it's not easy to get all that, especially because with the sport, like, not unless the uni, or say you have people who are paid in that sort of role to do that for the uni itself, and they're available to the team, and it's open to them, then of course it helps a lot with that. But I feel like we can get back up there, and I feel that the way this is the start of something big that will probably happen, I think, at the Longhorns now. And I think really with this journey that we're on right now, it's only going to get better. So, yeah.
Just to piggyback off the back of that, you kind of half mentioned it there. You've obviously coached in Div 1. You've now coached in Div 2 Uniball. You're involved with the Falcons, who are, going into their Prem year, the first year as a Prem side. Where's the big differences between, in terms of Uniball especially, between the Div 2 side and Div 1 side, a Prem side? Is it coaching? Is it the support from the uni? Is it a combination of all those things?
I'd say it's a combination, really. Like, if you can build a staff together that will work hard for the team and everything else, and get the players where you want them to, and then it's getting people to buy into it as well, and and believing in something. Like myself, I mean, with the Falcons, I've been with them for 13 years. So I started with them when I was 15 and stayed ever since. And it's like, you build that loyalty up and everything else. But of course, as I said, with like looking at the setups for even Prem teams and stuff, it's having the culture and everything else, and having people willing to go out there and do the extra work that's needed to get to that level. Because, you have players that are just there to play and have fun, whereas, like it has been said by a lot of people, you do need to put the work in, because if you don't, then it won't happen. Simple as. And it's just, if you're going to be the driving force to go out there and make it happen, then things will come, and it will happen for those teams and others who are playing the sport as well. So yeah,
cool.
So with that, thank you very much, Ryan, for coming in on short notice. Bloody whole Sharks ruining everything. Thank you very much. It's been genuinely
ruining my Sunday.
Again, it was it did ruin your Sunday. Very actually, I'd say that's probably the most professional interview we've ever done. So I'm happy with. I'm happy with that. I'd say that's probably the case.
Do you have two positional coaches in the book?
That's it. Tick it off. Hold on. It's ticked. Right. But yeah, good luck against everyone else, and good luck for the season. We will definitely be, keeping on top of what the Leicester Falcons are doing going forward.
Tebbs said if we see you in playoffs, he'll stream it.
Stop trying to call him out to get him to Scotland.
Hold on a second, guys. People who are watching, with the whole streaming thing, the reason why we were able to do it this Sunday is because I didn't have a game this Sunday, because we were supposed to be playing on Saturday. The game didn't go ahead. So basically, if you want me to come and stream your games, what you've got to hope for is that Gloucestershire either don't make the playoffs or get eliminated from the playoffs week 1, because that's how it works. Okay, otherwise it will just be seedable, but that's sort of the plan going forward. But yeah, good luck against DMU, especially Connor. Connor, I'm sure, has got some choice words for DMU.
Don't like DMU.
Simply put,
I've made that fairly public, and the reasons why, I'm sure you know.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for having me.
No comment.
But yeah, thank you very much, Coach.
No worries.
Yeah, honestly, that was definitely the most professional interview we've ever done.
Yeah, did you?
So congratulations, boys.
Yeah.
He said goodbye.
It was halfway through goodbye.
Near enough. Yeah.
Oh well, I'm not bringing him back on to say goodbye. Coach Ryan says goodbye.
Good luck to him.
Stop calling out my head coach to sack off the season so I can go and live stream game. And don't tag him either. What we did. So getting into week 11, we're going to run it down and obviously go through the picks. Honestly, this week, not too many great games. I'm sorry to say. I've already picked out what is going to be game of the week, and I don't think that's particularly going to change. But we'll go down. Prem, SGS. No. SGS versus Cardiff. Sterling versus the Nottingham Gold. Kent versus Essex. Swansea versus Exeter. Brunel versus QMBL. Bournemouth versus Bristol. Holloway versus Sussex. Portsmouth versus Oxford. Loughborough versus Coventry. Northumbria versus Essex. NTU versus Warwick. Hallam versus MMU. Sheffield versus Manchester Tyrants. Napier Knights versus the Aberdeen Bulls. York versus Lancaster. Lincoln versus AIU. Cambridge versus DMU. Solent versus Surrey. Teesside versus UWS. Bath Spa versus Aberystwyth. Kiel versus Leicester. Worcester versus Plymouth. City versus UEL. Kingston versus UCL. I think I've got that the right way around. Gloucestershire versus the UWE Bullets 2s. York St John versus Liverpool, Bradford versus Bangor, Edge Hill versus UClan. And that is it. For me, ladies and gentlemen, I can already tell you what the game of the week is going to be. And we've already spoken about it as well. So I hope you remember and you're not about to throw me down the alley here. Game of the week for this week is Napier Knights versus Aberdeen Bulls 2.
Jokes aside, I think Teesside UWS, if it gets played, is...
Can we not? Nobody needs that.
Yeah, genuinely, it's a game.
Nobody needs that in their life.
In the same way that Bangor YSJ is a great game.
No.
You might... It very well may be that they just agree to play 8-a-side.
They agree to play Madden.
Yeah.
Right, so
just turn it into
classic one again. Honestly, like this is it. It's Aberdeen versus Napier because Dylan has got to be sat here listening to that game, sweating, tears coming down his face because if Aberdeen win, then may God have mercy on all of our souls. Harriet Watt win the division. It's on your birthday. I hope you're gonna have an awful birthday. Aberdeen beat Napier again. It's over. Harriet Watt win the division and they get promoted. However, if Napier get to pull that win back, then as far as I'm concerned, we have, sorry Edinburgh, sorry Glasgow, we get the biggest the Scottish Uniball game of the year in Napier versus Harriet Watt on Super Bowl Sunday. No, I'm not coming to stream it. I've already been asked. I'm not driving to Edinburgh. I'm not driving to Edinburgh. I've got a game, and two, if it's Super Bowl, because Dylan, I mean this. We're not friends like that. I'm not watching the Super Bowl. We're not friends. We're work friends. We're not real friends.
To be fair, I can confirm the Golf Tavern in just off Brunsfield Links does throw a very good Super Bowl party.
I've heard the one at Bar 50 is better, Connor, and probably the better promotion to go to as well, if you had to ask me.
I've got no clue.
You might as well go to Hive.
That's where we will be going afterwards. You watch my words.
Afterwards? You go somewhere after the Super Bowl?
I've potentially still got a Hive stamp on my wrist from last night.
Hive till 5 is an absolute pilgrimage you must take when you go to Edinburgh.
Tebbs, listen, the fact Connor's been there tells you what you need to know about Hive.
It is.
I can imagine.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was in the last 3 years.
Like last year.
I can just imagine Connor. I'm just imagining Connor there, just chugging a WKD Blue, yeah.
I used to work next door.
Oh God.
I used to work in Globe Globe Bar right next to it. So we used to just shut up there at 1 and
I'm currently 50 foot above Hive. I look out my kitchen window, I see the top of the sign.
Yeah, I know you are.
Somewhere to live.
Right, are we going to talk about football by the chance?
I was continuing a tour of Edinburgh tabs. It's easier.
Big fire today.
We'll film. Screw the streams. We'll film a video. We'll do a vlog.
Day in the life.
Tebbs does Edinburgh. So we're going to go down the sort of rankings. Who we've got to win the Prem? Do we really need to bother? Sorry, Stirling and Cardiff. It's two of the strongest teams versus two of the weakest. SGS versus Cardiff. It's SGS all round gold. Same against Stirling, I'd imagine. Yeah. Don't be stupid, Dylan and Pixmas.
No.
Okay. Kent versus Essex. That's easy for me. That is the Falcons.
Oh. Wait.
What was that noise, bro?
That was me thinking.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, Kent. I got confused. Essex and Exeter. They're all down far south of me.
Yeah.
Kent.
You're an idiot.
Kent.
Yeah. Swansea versus Exeter again. It's Exeter. Don't really even say it. Just implied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel
Bruno,
like I'm gonna continue banging the drum for Swansea being a shame, a genuine shame, but hopefully they can regroup and pull themselves back.
Well, See you in the Southwest 2 next year, potentially.
Yeah.
Brunel versus QMBL. Brunel, because Brunel are on the up. And I know they lost one game. They've been going up ever since. But a lot of games have been sort of not skipped over, been postponed for Brunel. I believe that their last game against Imperial is now a double header. So it's now double points. So that's very interesting, especially if you watched the rundown last year when there was £100 bet on that game. Not from me, but from the Imperial QB and one of the Brunel coaches on stream. And that's the best piece of content we've ever made. Bournemouth, Bristol.
Oh, I don't know.
Bournemouth. There you go. Not hard.
I still go with Bournemouth, I think.
Bristol.
You're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. Royal Holloway versus.
Wrong though.
Oh yeah, you will do.
Where's it being played? I'll do this thing that Connor does.
Oh,
it's in Bournemouth. No, I'll go Bournemouth. Oh, yeah, Bournemouth.
Holloway versus Sussex. Holloway.
Yeah, Holloway.
Portsmouth versus Oxford. Portsmouth. Loughborough versus Coventry. Loughborough. Northumbria versus Edinburgh. Edinburgh. NTU versus Warwick. NTU.
Hang on. No, wait. Sorry, go back very quickly. Where is it?
Where's what?
Edinburgh, Northumbria. Where is it?
I don't know. Dylan, find out for me.
In Northumbria.
Okay. Beautiful. You want to back the boys to beat Royal Holloway? Yeah, but Holloway's got a really good defense.
Yeah.
And I think that and also Holloway are in the playoff picture. So I think they're gonna, they're aware of the importance of these games. NTU versus Warwick.
NTU.
I sort of want to pick Warwick, but I'm gonna go with NTU because I've done it before. It's gonna be a boring week, ladies and gentlemen. There's not too many exciting games. I'm sorry to say. Hallam versus MMU. Hallam. Sorry, I forgot your ear, Connor. I said that too aggressively.
Hallam versus MMU.
Okay, Sheffield versus Manchester. Who we got? Manchester. Right, Hull versus Leeds. Go on, pick Hull. Dylan.
No.
You know you want to pick them against Leeds.
No, Leeds.
No.
Leeds again. So it's gonna be. This is just this week.
Ruin my Sunday and my Monday nights.
York versus Lancaster.
Lancaster.
All right. Lincoln versus Anglia Ruskin. Lincoln. Christ. Cambridge versus De Montfort University. Cambridge
on principle.
De Montfort.
You're an idiot. Solent versus Surrey. Solent.
Yeah.
Solent.
Yeah. Teesside versus the UWS Pyros.
Teesside.
UWS.
You're an idiot. What are you doing this?
I've played them. What do you mean? You're 500 miles away.
He is definitely the best placed.
Yeah, actually a good point.
To make that pick.
Okay.
Looking like we are.
Okay, fine, whatever. Bath Spa versus Aberystwyth.
Bath Spa. Or a draw. Can I call a draw?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
See if you pick a draw and it is actually a draw. I quit.
I'll give you the keys to the show. Kiel versus Leicester. Worcester versus Plymouth. Plymouth. What a team. Yeah, City versus UEL. City. Kingston versus UCL. This is probably one of the more interesting games this week, to be honest. But I'm going with UCL.
Yeah, UCL.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Now this is one for you boys. The Gloucestershire Gladiators versus the UE Bullets 2s.
Gloucester.
Who was it Bullets played and won 2014? Was that Plymouth?
No. They lost to Plymouth.
They drew with Aber.
0-0.
0-0.
Who, Bullets 2s?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Gloucester. Sorry.
Sorry. York St John versus Liverpool. Come on, Dylan. You got to keep it going. Pick York St John.
The hot streak. Yeah, it's cold this week. I'm going Liverpool.
Liverpool. Bradford. Oh, sorry, Connor.
Liverpool.
Bradford versus Bangor. Bradford.
Bradford.
Edgehill versus UClan.
UClan.
And in the Sport Tank rundown, game of the week for week 11, Edinburgh Napier Knights versus the Aberdeen Bulls. It's a big game. Big game for this man right here. Big game for the whole of the Borders too. Again, the most interesting game that is happening this week. Genuinely. And I'm playing it. It's still the most interesting game that's happening. I don't have a clue about Edinburgh versus Napier. Obviously, Aberdeen beat Napier early on the season. I want to say week 2 or week 3. I can't remember.
Week 2.
Very early doors.
Tell me. Very early doors.
6th November.
We were all surprised. I was surprised. 6th November. It feels like a lifetime ago. I was very surprised when Aberdeen pulled out the win. Very surprised. I'm still surprised. Can they do it again? It's a good question. Napier, obviously, they've had some postponements. They've had a lot of things happen, but they did just go and, absolutely obliterate 36-0 against Teesside. They're coming in hot. I'm going with Edinburgh Napier Knights. You don't have to pick this one, Dylan, I will say.
I'd love to. I'm really, genuinely, it's not even to do with premise. I've got no clue.
No.
Because I've now played them both, but Aberdeen haven't played since us, I think. And then Napier, that was their first game since Aberdeen.
I am picking Napier as well, purely because, one, it's in Edinburgh. And I just think, knowing that setup, knowing Coach Laird, he's not going to let that slide twice.
It's going to be a really good game. Genuinely, it was close. What was it last time at half-time? Something like 6-4 or something stupid.
Something mad.
It was, yeah. It's going to be a
fell
tight
off.
game.
Yeah, I'm going with Napier.
I don't know. I can't answer it.
You
I might get an answer to you when you do the post, but I don't know.
No, do it now.
All right, you're good. No, you're good.
Do it now. No, okay, that's understandable. So
Aberdeen.
Oh, you're an idiot. You've said it now. It's on public record. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Week 10 is in the books. Thank you to Coach Ryan Cumming for coming on very short notice, half an hour's short notice. If you've got a game this week, good luck. Stay healthy. If you haven't got a game this week, enjoy your week off. And we will see you back here on Monday next week, where hopefully there'll be another vast improvement in the Wi-Fi. But we don't know. We don't know about the Wi-Fi. We never know about the Wi-Fi. So say goodbye. I never let you two say goodbye. So why don't you say goodbye? Normally just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, say
see
goodbye
you next
then.
week. Potentially badly hungover, but I will be here.
Potentially hungover, but he will be here. That is called diet and dedication. We'll see you back here on Monday, 8 o'clock.
Have a good one. Have a good one, gents.